Hey guys, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Roll20 and some of the ways I do map making. I've had a few friends ask about the way I make maps, and I've had lots of players ask, and I always show them. So I thought I'd put together a video to kind of better explain it and go over the different aspects. So we'll start with going through 3 maps I've previously made, and then make a map together. So in case you don't know, Roll20 is a virtual tabletop for playing games like D&D, Pathfinder, and things like that. You can make maps, character sheets, tokens, all that kind of stuff. My favorite part is the map making, the encounters, the battles. I love to make the maps, put all together, make it unique and experience, and then go forward with it. I center a lot of my stuff around the maps, actually. So here we'll start with this map. It's like a water temple, floating structures and stuff. So one thing I do with my maps is I make them sort of semi-3-dimensional. I call it 2.5 dimension. So you can see kind of like the sides of them, and there's some height advantage, things like that. And as you can see here, right there, that stone is actually the side. You have to climb up that to get onto the surface. And that makes it really unique, because you can see here we have bridges, we have chains, we have floating debris, and other such things that are all part of this map that normally wouldn't be as interactable. Or you'd have, and so that makes it unique. So for example, you might have a character that climbs over the chain and he has to make an acrobatics check, otherwise he falls in the water. You could have some monsters that are running across the bridge to attack you when you set on fire and it burns away and they have to fall in the water and shoot them like a fish in the barrel. They might run over and climb up this ladder to get to this section, and then these guys are actually a section even higher and they shoot down at you, so on and so forth. That makes it kind of unique. But let's move on to another map so we can get some other ideas here. So here we have, it's not as fully involved, but we have sort of an inside map. So one piece I want to show here is that all of these are actually segments, and we'll go more to that when we make a map. All these are just individual segments. Even like the tables and the candles and all that, they're different pieces that are all put together to make its appearance. And you see here, you can see like my hidden spots. These little bookshelves are like note cards for me and stuff that normally players won't be able to see. So here, if we go over here a little bit to kind of a 3-dimensional section here, is we have kind of a ravine that these kobolds have been digging out, because kobolds love to dig, that's what they do. And with some boards over to kind of help the kobolds climb around. Because kobolds like to climb as well, apparently. And so you could have some players that are running across, and let's say you have a paladin in full plate armor, shield, sword, and he's running across these weak little boards. Well, you might have him roll a check to see if he breaks the boards and falls down. Which he does. He takes some fall damage, and now he's prone, and the kobolds just pelt him with slings and bows. While a rogue, the very light, agile rogue that's wearing just some leather armor, he just scampers right across with some good checks, and he can get to the kobolds quickly and kill them all off, you know? Some different aspects there you might normally see. And so my last map is kind of more of an outside map. It's just kind of like when it's an old battle. One of my players, with help of some NPCs, stormed a castle. And so in here we can see some trees that I pulled from online, and then there's a little river bridge, and there's this castle keep with some archers that were on top. This was unique because I didn't know what my players would do. Were they going to try and sneak around? Were they going to swim across the river or what? And they took the easy route. They just went to the bridge and just started wailing them on. And the whole battle became centered, as you can see, a lot of the dead bodies, around this bridge and the battle there, except for a few archers. And so it kind of focused and made it, the river became a barrier almost. Like, well, we don't want to deal with that. Let's just go across the bridge. And so it kind of created a neat aspect, but they could have done different things. But let's go on to how I actually make these maps. So let's go ahead and create a new page. So with Roll20, it has height and width and all that, but I always give it a little bit extra. I want about a 35 by 25, but I do a little extra, give me a sidebar, so I can put stuff that only I want to see. And then we'll make the background green. We'll do a kind of a cliffside battle. I always have to uncheck and check this grid thing, just because Roll20 doesn't like me. And then same to the color, otherwise it doesn't show up. So if yours doesn't show up, just uncheck and recheck it, and then it should show right up. Okay, let's get into that. So the next thing is we zoom out. This is what it is. I always put a barrier around it, because if you zoom in at certain points, it actually shows more than, see right there, this it shows more than what it should. This part doesn't exist. So just to kind of fix that and also help my players know where the map ends it doesn't, because they always don't have the vision you do, is I just put a red border around it. Just like this. And to do this, you just kind of select your paint tool, and then you can hold down Shift, which will make it align with the grid. It can be a little tricky sometimes, but play around with it and it'll start to work for you. And then I always give myself a little 5-foot section on the end to kind of put my stuff there like that. And so if you, let's see if we zoom in a little bit, you can see here sometimes it shows more than what it needs to. And that's just an issue with Roll20 being very browser based, and certain browsers, Google, Chrome, Firefox, or Internet Explorer, kind of work differently with them based upon that. We'll zoom back out though. So let's go and start making some maps. So I just usually use just the Roll20 search engine to search for stuff. If I really need something specific, then I go to Google or somewhere, find it, and then throw it into my library. But let's get some stone first for our side of our cliff, which I kind of tend to use this one for a lot of stuff. That way my players always kind of know that that's, oh, we see that, that's the side of cliff. Try and reuse some of the same stuff for the same things, you know, floors and walls inside. And that'll help your players know what's going on. And just kind of makes it easier. But I usually make these 3x3. That way if they fall, they take D6 or 2d6 damage or D10, you know, depending on what game you play. Not a whole lot, but if you want to make it a more dangerous battle, you make it twice as high, and, you know, someone falls, they just die, you know. So depending on how dangerous you want to make it, it will affect the height of it. But I just kind of grab usually make it 3 squares, or in most games 15 feet high, and I just kind of start laying a foundation, just an outline. We're gonna make 2 cliff sides back to back and make it kind of 3 sections, which will make sense once we kind of start getting into it. But I just start copy and paste some down, and I start laying them out. I try to make them so they're not going up and down more than like 1 or 2. If you start putting them up like this, it just your brain doesn't click, it doesn't start making sense. So I usually just adjust it by 1, kind of trying to give it some sort of variance or natural. It was just, you know, man-made, you know, like some glacier came by and tore this out, or some big river used to be here, or lake or something for this cliffside. You know, just something a little more natural. And that kind of makes it fit together and kind of fit the scenery. Okay. There we go. Let's delete these. And so next thing we want to do is we want to put some of the floor down. This bottom will keep green, and then as we get further up, as we get closer to the sun, we put it, you want to get a little bit lighter, because closer to the sun, stuff's more illuminated. And that kind of helps your eyes know that stuff's higher or lower. Or if you're crossing a ravine, you do the same 2 levels, the same color. That helps people know exactly what's going on. So we'll find 2 different grasses to kind of match that out. I think these dark ones right here will work perfect for the middle one. And let's make them a little bigger. We'll do 5x5 just so we can kind of cover everything really easily. And then again, if you do put too many tokens or have large maps, it can really cause issues. I've made big maps in the past, and we've started lagging or having issues. So I kind of try to avoid that. Or if you do need a big maps, break them into different maps, or make it, screenshot it, and then take that screenshot and put it back into the system as a single image. And that sometimes works too. But those are some ways around it. And then we'll use this kind of lighter one as the top part up here. So let's go and copy and paste this right in. We just need to cover all the spots, and then what you can do is you can click it and right click to send back, and that puts it behind everything. That's just the system z-index. Z-index is basically the computer's way to know what's on top and what's below, and that just helps have things layered or things that show above others. And so we just want these grass things to be below visually these stone things. You can manipulate the z-index in ways that it actually shows some things below things and above things at the same time that it shouldn't be able to, and that's just funny computer wizardry that you can mess with sometimes. But just play around with it and you can get it to work usually how you want it to. Sometimes you can use multiple grasses. Sometimes they have multiples, 2 or 3, if you want to really kind of design a little bit more or make it a little more in depth, or add little roads or paths or some finer details, and that kind of makes it stand out. We'll do a little bit of that, but we won't go into too heavy Otherwise, we'll be here all day making maps. Sometimes I've sat there and made maps and I've spent way too much time on them, but they're a lot of fun, so I like them. So here we go. We'll start going put these on our top one, and then basically we'll have our foundation or our base down, and then we'll start adding a few details to kind of make it pop or stand out a little bit more. Okay, so there we got our 3 sections of cliffside. The middle one's kind of bigger, so you know most of your battle's probably going to be happening on this, but you could adjust that so it's a little bit lesser if you want more on the top or bottom. But yeah, our middle one's kind of our main section. So let's go and put some details. So sometimes people have an issue seeing that this is height advantage. So you kind of have to point out and go, oh, just tell your players, this is the side of the mountain and this is the top. If you were to be standing right here and fall, you would fall 3 down to this section here. Explain it that way people get it. But sometimes if you want some visual cues to help them out, add ladders or stairs, and that really helps their eyes to see it. Let's just grab kind of a straightish ladder. I think this will be good. Let's zoom in a little bit here. So we'll add a ladder right here. Some bandits were here earlier. They didn't want to take the stairs or climb up, so they put some ladders down, or maybe you guys did. The players put a ladder down. We'll put some stairs as well, just so we can kind of see what that looks like. Maybe there used to be some dwarves that you lived around here, and they, you know, have short legs and hate climbing, so they mined out some areas and put some stairs in to help them out. Let's see, we'll put some stairs right here. We'll make the stairs too wide, so that way it doesn't cause too much of a funneling. You know, you can still pass each other and stuff. And then we'll put some down here as well. Let's move some of this in so there's kind of this even path here. Okay, there we got some stairs, some ladders, but now we need a little more details. This looks pretty barren for such a green area. Let's add some trees in. As we saw from the other map, you can find some trees that kind of fit kind of the same height area. And they kind of have these nice shadows on them that make them really pop out and stand out. And I like using those a lot. You can make them really big or kind of medium and just kind of place a few around like this. That also gives your players something to hide behind or blocking and stuff like that. We'll add some more down here as well. And then you can kind of adjust to make them different sizes and stuff. Like some of these will make a little slightly bigger. You know, not all trees are exactly the same size. There we go. Let's copy one of these down here. It's just kind of sticking out from the bottom. Copy this one up here. And then we'll make this one a little bit bigger. And then we'll say the bottom part's very foresty. There's lots and lots of trees. Just there's more stuff, better dirt down there. Let's say the top part. There's not a lot of trees. Maybe there's a forest fire a while back and it burned them all down. But with some bushes in. Some bushes. Ooh, I like these red ones. We'll use these red bushes. Maybe they're resilient to fire. That's why the bushes are still around, or they're magical bushes. Maybe if you step too close to them, they catch you on fire. Who knows? Add whatever you want. We'll make some a little bit smaller too. Some little bushes. And there we go. We have a decently sized map set up with some forestry and some details. Let's grab our characters. Let's see. We got Norian. They'll start way over here. That way they have to climb all the way up. Oh, they're on the long layer. Let me, there we go. And then we'll add Srinkson and Gorduk. Where's Grim? There we go. There's my 4 players. They'll start there. That way, they can either just climb right up this cliffside, but you know, if they have heavy armor and stuff, that might be hard to do. Or if they have really poor athletics, maybe they just fall a lot. I mean, you try climbing up a cliff in full plate armor. So they can just kind of hide between the trees or the cliffside and then climb up the stairs up to over here. And then go up further more. If they want to still kind of stay out of sight and not get attacked, they could do the ladder. Maybe they can't be seen until they're all the way up the top. But let's give them something to fight. We'll find some dragon or beast or something. I think this one will work. There you go. There he is. Oh, he's tiny. Let's turn him around. Let's make him a little bit bigger. There we go. Call him Cliffside Beast. Let's give him a health bar just to have it show. And there we go. We have our cliffside beast. Maybe he protects this area. They're on some adventure attack him, and he's gonna be like shooting fire blasts at you every time from his fire breath. Or maybe there's a bunch of rubble and rocks behind, so he's pushing boulders down that's falling down like Donkey Kong style, and you guys have to avoid it. Which you guys could, easily, bypass it all. Maybe the wizard has a spell that lets you all levitate, so you just levitate past it all and get to the beast really easy. Well, maybe it only affects 3 people, and the dwarf's short legs is going to take a while, so he pulls out a magic item that lets him fly up there, or someone else is like, well, let me borrow your magic item. I don't have good speed. I'll use it instead, and they get up there at the same time, It's just really neat because this creates more opportunities for your players to use unique and specialized items, Someone falls and they're on their last couple of hit points. They get pushed off the cliff, so they use feather falling so they don't fall and land on a spike or whatever. It just creates more opportunities for that. So my players, I've been doing this. I have a group that I've been playing with for a year, and I've been playing on Roll20 for over half a decade, and I've been doing this for quite a bit, and I really like it. And I've had a lot of people ask, so I just wanted to share this with you guys. But thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions or comments.